Good morning, everybody. It's Friday morning, and going to see Alfie today. Just after lunch, we'll be there, and I can't wait to see him. I haven't seen him for 3 weeks. Some of the homes are going back into lockdown after this week, so I don't know. It's all starting again, but I can't wait to see him. I've actually got him this to go on one of his shelves, along with shirts and a jumper and stuff, but I don't know whether to take it because they're a bit careless with stuff, and if we took it, we'd make sure it was placed somewhere safe. I don't know. We've also got a camera that we had permission to install in Alfie's room when there were problems with stuff. But we've never been able to use the camera because they said there's trouble with the Wi-Fi. I don't know. A lot of excuses going on. But anyway, I'm going to be positive today. And what I wanted to speak to you about is the court case that I went through and what led up to it, what happened during it, and my position now. 6 years ago, I started to have really bad pains in my stomach, in my abdomen, just there. And the pain got progressively worse. I went to the GP, who referred me for x-rays. Nothing showed up. Went for a CAT scan, nothing showed up. I was referred to a professor, can't say his name, who is now practising in Australia. Oh, there's a road sweeper outside. Hope you can hear me. He's practising in Australia, this professor. Anyway, so the upshot was my claim was against the GP, but they brought the wrong GP, in my opinion, because it wasn't the GPs that had been treating me at the end. So they brought the GP, whose practice it was, and she wasn't very good on the stand. I wasn't very impressed with that, because when she said, the judge asked her, why didn't you refer to, why didn't you? And she said, I just thought it was the same old trouble with the back, she meant. Anyhow, the two GPs who should have been on the stand, who were frightened of going on the stand, the one had his solicitor contact my solicitor to say, you're not still thinking of bringing him on the stand, are you? He was terrified, and he was the one who actually said to me, we let you down, and told my son she's going to need some psychiatric help to get over all this, and he admitted it was their fault. He admitted it. So 6 years ago, I was having these pains. It went on for months and months, to the point where I was phoning to see if I could get this colonoscopy done quickly that the professor was arranging. And I said to the secretary, I just can't bear this pain. I mean, it's like labour pains every day, and that's how it was. It was unremitting for months. Gradually got worse. I was dosed up with morphine, diclofenac, all sorts of junk. To wonder it didn't kill me, actually, what they gave me. And it was one particular GP who was doing that, and there was two involved at the end. They should have been brought in, but they weren't. So this unremitting pain went on for months. Everybody let me down. Nobody sent me for the colonoscopy, speeded it up. Nobody sent me for an endoscopy, which would have shown what the problem was. I had a GP come out to my house, and in her witness statement she said, I got the impression that it wasn't from her back, that it was her abdomen that was the problem, and she was crying with it and blah blah blah. She didn't refer me to the hospital. She was on the stand. And then another man, consultant, was brought in, who sort of went through everything and was saying, you know, we did all we could. We go by the Socrates lesson, whereby S for something, O for something, C for something. He said that's what we do with patients. And the judge said, well, there's no indication that you did that with this patient in her notes. And he said, well, she must have fell through the net. So to come back to my illness, I was given more and more copious doses of pain meds. And on the Friday, this one GP who wasn't in court came, and I was crying, and I said, please, give me an injection in my back, give me something to stop this pain. My weight had gone down to 5.5 stone. By that time I was skeletal. I couldn't eat. I couldn't even drink a glass of water. I didn't get the injection. I got another prescription for something called Zomorph, another opiate, and it was a strong dosage. My son fetched a prescription. This was on a Friday, lunchtime. My son got the prescription and I took the prescribed amount of this Zomorph and lay on this sofa where I am now. And it knocked me out for a couple of hours, completely knocked me out. And I hadn't been sleeping. So when I woke up, I tried to get up off the sofa, and I felt as though somebody had gotten a knife. I haven't got a knife, I've got a shoehorn, putting my shoes on. I'd gotten a knife and had just stabbed me. And stabbed me again. And then I fell onto the floor. I started to dial 999. I was frightened too because of the treatment I'd had. Oh, I didn't tell you. The one time we went to the hospital, they wouldn't give me an endoscopy or a CAT scan. They said, you've had these things. The previous endoscopy was 3 years earlier. And this doctor came and he stood there at the bed. He didn't examine me, his student examined me. And he said, the pains are coming from your back. I said, it isn't, it's my abdomen. Nobody would have it. And I said, I can't go out without a care plan in place. And I'll tell you the hospital, it was Heartlands Hospital in Birmingham. I can't go out without a care plan in place. He stood there with his hands either side of the curtain rail. And he said, if you don't leave the hospital, I will call security and have you removed. So I left in my nightgown and dressing gown. So that happened where was I? So the experiences I'd had was sort of frightening me, but the pain was frightening me more. I sort of dialed 999 and put the phone down, and as I put the phone down, it rang, and it was my son, and I was screaming down the phone. You know, I'm on the floor, I can't get up, I feel as though somebody's stabbing my stomach. He'd gotten on to his partner while I was on the phone. He said, "Stay on the phone, Mum," and he managed to get his partner somehow and said, "Call for an ambulance quickly to Mum's house." So my son got here. Lady next door, absolutely wonderful, wonderful woman. She, who's left now, she's gone to Nuneaton, so still keeping in touch. So she came round, my son was there, and I was on the sofa, and I was crying, and I was screaming intermittently, and the pain in my stomach. And the first responder came, and he tried to give me some gas and air. I couldn't even suck to get the stuff into me. I couldn't use it. The ambulance came, and they were going to take me to the nearest hospital, which was Heartlands. And I said, "I don't want to go. No, I can't go to Heartlands. No, I can't." And I was getting really distressed about this. And the first responder said to my son, "Look at your mother. Look at her. She's like a skeleton." He said, "How many more flags, red flags, did they need?" He said to the ambulance crew, take her to the Queen Elizabeth, not Heartlands, Queen Elizabeth. I will take responsibility for that." So we went to the Queen Elizabeth, got there. I saw, I don't know who it was, and then I went up to see a consultant. I don't know whether I can tell you the name. I'm going to. It was a Mr. Marriott, and I thank him for my life. He just examined me, listened to my stomach, and called somebody else over to confirm. And he said part of the bowel is dead, and something is, and it was going on, and I was out of it. And I remember him saying to me, "It's a very serious surgery that you're going to have, that you need to have, otherwise you'll die. But you've got no reserves to fall back on." Bearing in mind I was 5.5 stone and hadn't been eating, and I was just so ill. And he said, if you come through the surgery, if you come through, you're probably going to need a colonoscopy bag. At that point, I didn't care whether I lived or died, whether I had a bag. Didn't care. The pain was so intense. So they got me settled, they got me comfortable. And then, in the early hours, another consultant came in, and I'll tell you his name as well, Mr. Desai, and examined me. And he said, "No, there's no doubt you need this surgery. We've got to do it. You've been told how serious it is." Well, they spoke to my son and his partner in depth and told them I only had a 15 to 20% chance of survival at all, of living. That it was an ulcer that had burst. That was the pain on the afternoon. And that was the pain I'd been having all along. The ulcer had burst. And if it had seeped into my other organs, every organ was going to have to be taken out of my body and washed. And I wouldn't survive. probably wouldn't survive. My son came down as far as the surgery doors, and then I, came back here, and my other son was here as luck could have it, and my son and his partner came in, and Alan said to me afterwards, he said, I've never seen Jim's face. He said he was like parchment, marble, and he looked terrified, and they were crying, both of them. Next door neighbour said, Jim's partner fell into her arms. She said Jim stood there like a statue, keeping it all in and trying to. So that was what he went through, and I had the surgery. I came through the surgery. I didn't need a colonoscopy bag. I did need a lot of care. I was in the ICU for days. I think I was in hospital for a month. And that's the story of the ruptured ulcer, and why I brought this court case against the people who wouldn't listen to me. So the next video will be about the court case. That was the lead up to it. Now we'll go into what I did a few months later in the next video. I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.